Hi, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. I have a question for you before Tom piggybacks off it. Vote declines. Several of your players were talking after the game yesterday just about Tyler Smith and Micah Parsons and some others, just about the culture and finishing this season out strong. And they were talking about, what you had built here going into this season. I know fans and media, we often tend to look at it just in the season. But do you believe what you've kind of built in these previous 3 years, you're kind of seeing some elements of it here as you finish this out?
Definitely. I believe in building a championship program. That was really the approach since day one. And obviously, it's important to, live, learn, and apply it to the future. But, frankly, I do enjoy these questions because I am a philosopher. Can't even say it with a straight face. But really, we need to beat Tampa, guys. I really do. We need to beat Tampa, and I think it's great those guys, answer those questions for you and so forth. But, yeah, definitely. We built a good program here. There's definitely things you learn each and every week, each and every year. I'm old school in the fact of keeping the yellow tablet on my desk, and you write things down as the year goes on, and that you want to look for in the off-season program changes in training camp. The media access to training camp is ridiculous. We need to cut that out. Just things like that. No, you're always looking to improve. And being just, I think it's important to correct while you're in it. While it's fresh. Good things too. I'm saying we need to do more of this in the practice. Season programs change. There's always adjustments. And at the end of the day, our job is to create the culture and make sure the team's being trained properly and make sure our guys are given everything they need to win football games.
And along with that, you were talking last night about just you lost a couple more stars going in that game. The importance of keep going. DeMarcus Lawrence, is there a chance he'll activate his window this week, or what does it look like for him?
Just in a brief meeting we had earlier, I don't see DeMarcus being available this week. No, he was not on that. He was not part of that conversation.
Tyler works for ESPN. You talk about the yellow tablet that you keep. Has there been more pages in that tablet this year than they've written in the past?
No, I think it's consistent. In the beauty of doing this for a while, I think it's real important just to always be in the evaluation mode because that's nothing stays the same in a game of football. Nothing stays the same in competing in the National Football League. I think it's a mindset you have to have, and you always got to be able to tweak and adjust. And frankly, realize when there's a time not to change too. There's some things that I know the year off taught me that. I think when you reflect and have a chance to step away, and they say you're old and you're stubborn and and things, and so you look at those things. But everybody has a way of doing things. Ball never change. I think when you get too far away from the basics, you're usually going down the wrong road.
And the injuries again. Anything with Jordan and TJ Bassett? You got any updates on the?
I don't. I really don't. I'll probably head to the training room from here.
John Machado with The Athletic. These last 4 games for Rico Dowdle, what stands out most to you? Where has he impressed you most these last 4?
Oh, the thing that's always stood out to me, my opinion of Rico's is his run style. I love his run style. I'm missing when he goes vertical. He breaks tackles. His contact balance is exceptional. He's got so much power in his hips, and he has a unique run style, which also he's done a much better job of protecting the football because that's the challenge of that. He breaks a lot of tackles week in and week out. So, but just his consistency. The thing I really want to see Rico do is take the next step, and that's to be a third down back too. Just be an every down back, and he's doing a little more of that. And we'll see how that looks moving forward because it's important for him to touch the football.
And then you mentioned yesterday about turnover differential, and obviously in defense you guys have been taking the ball away a lot more. Is there anything that you can point to over the last month or so why you think that number's gone up for you guys?
Well, I just think our players have stayed after it. There's 2 steps to it. You have to first be in position, create those opportunities, and then you got to execute them. So you can always work at, your angles, just keep emphasizing the techniques of ball extraction. I just feel strongly as a coach, and I know the players do the same. You get what you emphasize. So, we're just making sure we're talking about it, emphasizing it, and it's something that the players have done a great job bringing it to life.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How resilient is your offensive line? It seems that every week you got something going on there.
Extremely resilient. I think not only every week, but in game. I think just the fact that if you look at the way we ran the ball at the end of the game, that's just a big credit to them and Zeke and Rico because just to put that game away and just to have the changes that went on throughout the game. So yeah, it's been a big part of our success on offense.
How tough has it been with your O-line coach? The coach is there to say, Mike, are we going to have this guy or not? And you say, well, you got to get this guy ready. How difficult are those conversations with those guys?
I'm not sure what you're.
Like, want certain guys ready, but they can't be ready. So how hard is it just to
Like because of injury?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's part of the weekly process. We're going through right now with Cooper Beebe, so hopefully he'll be ready to go. We'll be in a lighter schedule on Wednesday, but hopefully he can go by Thursday. So, yeah, the medical, there's a line there, and you do the best you can. Players are either in the rehab group or they're out or they're full. So, and everybody has a category. So, we have a general idea, and we're always trying to project. And I've always felt when a player can't practice and he's in a questionable mode, it's really twofold. You do what you need to do to get him ready to play in the game, but it's also an opportunity to develop other players, somebody else ready, but also it's more reps for the younger players too. So there are benefits to that situation too for others, and so I think you just got to keep that in mind and just part of our process.
Nick?
Nick Harris, four-star program. Also, Dingy-Zula, you've been here for the entirety of his career. Feels like he's playing the best ball of his career as of late. What's worked so well for him on and off the field?
Consistency. Oso's just such a stud. We have a number of guys whose work ethic is off the charts. He's definitely one of them. I mean, he's always here. If I have any concerns about Osa, would be overtraining. Because he's always at it. He's always doing the extra stuff, always taking care of his body, doing the extra things there, and he's just a wonderful human being. Everybody loves Osa. He's a great teammate, and he's a man that represents the Dallas Cowboys the right way.
It's been a year of opportunity for a lot of guys in different places of the depth chart. On one of the touchdowns yesterday, you had 7 undrafted free agents on the field at once. What would you say just about the opportunity and how certain guys have taken advantage of it this year?
Well, I think it's definitely great that you're really spending your time with your analytics. I'm impressed, and I think it reflects the fact that we've been kicking ass in the 8th round.
Saki's with The Athletic. Mike, what are the defining characteristics and traits in your ideal backup quarterback?
Well, I think the number one thing I've always looked in a backup is can we continue to play the way we always played? That's something that Cooper gives us, because when you have to alter so much, then it also takes away from the training of the others. So I think it's important when you build your roster. When we're in the off season, we're setting the template for the installations of the offensive scheme. You definitely want to have enough for everybody to get through 2 seasons. Is really the way this thing really unfolds. But so for the backup quarterback just to go in and just plug and play is important, because the reality of it is when his opportunity comes, there's a good chance of maybe in the flow of a game. So you're not going to have that full week to get him ready to go in for the first time too. So and it keeps your training regimen the same too. So I think that's very important when you're looking to develop and define what the quarterback room is supposed to be like.
And then about the time that a backup is the actual backup and not playing, what are the roles that you really look for him to execute out for the starter, for the team?
Well, it's very defined. Each number 2 and number 3 have responsibilities each week. As far as the preparation segments of a meeting that they'll be part of. So the way the scout team is ran, as far as the number of reps that they get, particularly if there's a certain emphasis that our defense needs to see, we make sure they see that. A lot of pre and post practice things that you'll see those guys involved in. If a perimeter player needs work in on a certain route or things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of responsibilities that our number 2 and 3 quarterbacks have.
Don't want All City Dallas, building on Calvin's questions on chemistry and cohesiveness is so important on an offensive line. Now you guys have had so many shuffling around. How have you been able to keep that cohesiveness going?
Well, it's definitely probably one of the most important positions on your team, because if you think about it, you used to have a line coach who used to remind me all the time that he coached half the offense. And I say, yeah, but I coach the quarterbacks, and I'll never forget that. But I think it's important that if you think about it, that position requires 5 guys to be in lock and step, every play, and that's why that room is so important, because whether you have 15 in there or 12, as your numbers coming out of training camp, those guys spend a lot of extra time together, and it's critical because you have to have them. I think clearly since the 16 games, now 17 games, maybe 18 games, I think the heightened responsibility of that room is definitely growing. So you have to have it. You can't win without it. I think every year when you look at the playoff teams, the offensive and defensive line are a big part of the success of those teams.
When Brock Hoffman first kind of emerges, he did a good job, but let's see how he responds when the tape comes out about him, how other teams now know who he is. How have you seen him kind of keep that going, how he's been playing?
Oh, super consistent. His attitude and energy, what he brings to the workplace has just been on point really since he's been here. Super professional, well prepared, has a very connective personality, and he definitely deserves a lot of credit for just the mindset, the play style that he's really helped push along up front.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, Trayvon Diggs went from playing 71 snaps against the Bengals to then maybe playing this week to then out for the year. Can you just sort of describe kind of the progression and how he went from returning to now out?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to look at Trayvon. Trayvon's always going to try to go. He's a one of the most competitive guys that you'd ever want to be around. Once you cross the white lines. So he came out of the game and didn't feel right, and you go through the process of being examined, and then once we were able to take the scan, get the scan, the MRI, then obviously we are where we are right now. So that's the timeline.
And what did you think of the rest of the secondary, filling in Amani Owarie and some of those other guys in Carolina?
Well, I think overall, I thought we did a really good job. I think particularly if you just look at some of the stress points that they had, as far as getting in and out of the empty formations and things like that. Because you have to, there was quite a bit as far as checks and things that those guys are involved in, and I thought they did a good job of handling that.
Tom. Mike, did you learn anything about Guyton yesterday coming off the bench? And he appeared to play pretty well for you after not being able to practice very much and things like that.
Definitely, I think it's another experience for a young player. I mean, anytime you go through an injury situation, especially what he's been through, and he put in a ton of extra time to get ready to be available for Cincinnati. Then see him take the next step and get ready for Carolina. So yeah, that's all part of the learning process, and it'll definitely serve him well moving forward.
Dak was at the game. What's the benefit of him being there?
Well, I mean, Dak's one of your leaders of the football team. I mean, face of the franchise. It's always a benefit to have Dak, around the football team, but I think it speaks volumes about him. He's still in it. I mean, he's here every day. So, he has his things that he needs to work on as far as the rehab part of it. But he's still in the quarterback meetings. He's still in the team meetings, so he's still a part of it.
Okay. You've shown a high level of trust in Brandon Aubrey pretty much since he arrived here, and he's mostly rewarded that trust. What were your thoughts leading up to the 70-yard attempt, and your thoughts on kicks at that distance going forward?
I wish we were indoors. I wish we had had a real chance at it. I was scared to death when we returned or caught the balls, but because I've been on the other side of that before. 2005 in Chicago, if you want to look it up, but it's right before the half, last play of the half. But no, he's earned that opportunity. I mean, he does that on a regular basis. I mean, he's so impressive with his consistency from that distance. So I obviously had the confidence that he can get it done. I know we got a little nervous here at the end because the wind was it wasn't enough to make a decision on the direction in the fourth quarter, but there was a little more wind going to our left, which I guess would have been to the south, than going to the north. So, but hey, we gave it a shot.
You talk a lot about trimesters and that kind of thing. You got 3 left.
Yeah.
Still alive. Do you talk to your team about we're still in this, or you just try to ignore it?
And yeah, we talk about it. I don't talk a whole lot about it. It's the facts. We know where we are. Very matter of fact about it. We have to beat Tampa. Need help. We understand that. So nothing. We have to put ourselves in position to get help. So, and we have to beat Tampa. And I mean, super impressive win. Yesterday against the Chargers. So I mean, that's really what we're focused on.
Order WFAA. Seems like the performance of your defense has really changed since Micah came back, and he's coming back from an extended absence for the first time because of injury. How has he come back, and what kind of effect has he had on the way you're playing defensively?
I mean, Micah Parsons is an impact player. When we're at training camp, we know where he is. You have to know where he lines up, every single play because of the impact that he can make on any play. So I think that in itself tells you the difference that he can make. It's not only just in game planning, but the in-game adjustments. So yeah, and I think it's obvious why we've been different with his impact.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, let's talk about that win over the Panthers. A 32-14 victory sounds great on paper, right? But let's be honest, it was against a team that's been struggling all season. Sure, Carolina was showing some improvement and even came in as favorites to win, but this wasn't exactly a statement game for the Cowboys. Now, don't get me wrong, every win counts. That's how we keep hope alive, right? After all, this win did bump our record up to 6-8. The big question is, does it actually mean we still have a shot at the playoffs? Before we dive into the numbers and scenarios, I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Cowboys can still pull off a miracle? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's see where the optimism stands. Alright, let's get real about where we stand. After that win against the Panthers, we're sitting at 6-8 and ranked 12th in the NFC. That's pretty far down the ladder, only ahead of the Saints. For a team that's made the playoffs 3 years in a row, this season feels like a punch to the gut, doesn't it? But here's the silver lining. Technically, we're not out of the race yet. Yeah, the odds aren't great. Before the Panthers game, our playoff chances were sitting at a miserable 0.2%. And now, well, they've improved ... but not by much. It's still a long shot. So I want to ask you, where's your head at? Are you holding on to hope, or are you ready to call it a wrap for this season? Let me know in the comments below. So, what's it going to take for the Cowboys to sneak into the playoffs? Honestly, it's like threading a needle blindfolded. The first step? We've got to win every single game left on our schedule, no room for error. And let's be real, that's easier said than done with the teams we still have to face. But even if we pull that off, we'll need some serious help from other teams. The Commanders, who currently hold that coveted No. 7 spot, would need to lose their next 2 games against the Eagles and the Falcons, and that's just the beginning. There are 4 other teams standing in our way, including the Rams and Seahawks. If even one of them keeps winning, our chances go up in smoke. It's a tough pill to swallow, right? But here's where I want your input. Do you think the Commanders could collapse in these next 2 games? And if you had to bet, who do you think is most likely to give us that opening we need, the Rams or the Seahawks? Let's start a vote in the comments and see which team fans are counting on to trip up. Alright, let's take a moment to step back from the doom and gloom. Sure, this season hasn't been what any of us hoped for, but you've got to admit this team hasn't just rolled over and given up. That win against the Panthers may not have been spectacular, but it showed one thing: the Cowboys still have fight in them. Look at some of the divisional wins we've had. They've kept our faint playoff hopes alive and proven that, even in a rough year, we're not tanking. And how about the players who stepped up, even in tough moments? It's those flashes of brilliance that remind us why we stick with this team through thick and thin. Now, I want to hear from you. Who's been the standout player for you this season? Whether it's someone who's consistently performed or just had a few clutch moments, drop their name in the comments. Let's celebrate the guys who've kept us believing, even when things got tough. So here we are. The path to the playoffs is narrow, practically non-existent, but as of now, we're not officially out. That's enough to keep the tiniest spark of hope alive. It's a long shot, no doubt. Winning out, relying on other teams to stumble, it feels like we're trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. But hey, being a Cowboys fan isn't just about the wins and losses. It's about loyalty, belief, and riding the highs and lows with this team. And until the math says we're done, we keep the faith, right? What do you think? Is it time to start looking ahead to next season? Or are you holding on to that last sliver of hope? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's tackle the rest of this season together.